Hi everybody, it's Jeff from Close to Home in Glastonbury here with the May block of the month. I hope everybody's having a great late spring here. It's starting to heat up out there as we head toward the summer. And we're going to heat up our blocks with the next one, Arizona. So here we have our block of the month, Arizona. It almost has a cactus or cactus flower look to it, which I really like. This block comes to us from a Nancy Page column. Nancy Page was the pseudonym for Florence LeGanc Harris, who wrote for various syndicated columns for different newspapers in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. She had a club called the Nancy Page Club, so basically under her pseudonym, she made a whole fictional world with her own quilting group, and each week would provide a new pattern so that everybody could follow along. So it was a very popular column at the time, and I really, really like this Arizona block that she has. So here we have the pieces we'll be using for this month's block. From our tourmaline fabric, we have 4 2 7/8 by 2 7/8 squares. Those are going to be used for the flying geese. We have 2 3 by 3 inch squares. Those are going to be used for half square triangles. And 4 4.5 inch by 2.5 inch pieces. From the green, we're going to have 4 3 by 3 inch squares, 4 2.5 by 2.5 inch squares, and 1 5 1/4 inch by 5 1/4 inch squares. That's also going to be used in our flying geese block. And then we have from the background, in my black there, it's going to be 6 3 inch by 3 inch, and 1 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch. Once again, we're going to start this block by doing some half square triangles. So you'll start by taking your background squares, my black, and marking on all 6 3 inch by 3 inch background squares a line from corner to corner. You're going to pair 4 of those background squares with 4 of your accent color, my green, and the other 2 are going to go with the other 3 inch by 3 inch tourmaline squares. You're going to put those right sides together, and then stitch a 1/4 inch on each side of the marked line, cut on the marked line, press your seams toward the background fabric or open if you prefer, and then don't forget to trim your squares to a finished size of 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. This will give you 8 squares with the accent color and the background, and 4 squares with the tourmaline in the background. After that, we're going to move on to our flying geese blocks. We're going to do these in the 4 at a time method again. So you'll start by taking your 4 2 7/8 inch tourmaline squares and mark a diagonal line from corner to corner on the back of them. Then you'll place 2 of those squares on opposite corners of your large accent square. That's going to be the 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 accent square. And you're going to put those right sides together as shown right here. And then you're going to stitch a 1/4 inch on each side of the marked line. Make sure you cut on that marked line and press toward those tourmaline fabrics, so towards those smaller triangles. Then you're going to layer your remaining tourmaline squares on the 2 pieces you have just made as shown here. And once you sew a line on a 1/4 inch side on each of that marked line, you're going to cut again. Press toward those tourmaline triangles, and you will end up with 4 flying geese blocks measuring 4.5 inches by 2.5 inches. These are the finished size. When you're done, there should be no need to trim these if everything's done right. Now we're going to take our half square triangles and the 2.5 inch by 2.5 inch accent square that you have, and we're going to start putting those together into little units. So the unit here is going to be one of those 2.5 inch accent squares with one of the background and tourmaline half square triangles and 2 of the background and accent color half square triangle blocks. And you're going to attach them just as shown, and you're going to make a total of 4 of these. After that, take your flying geese blocks, and we're going to pair those with our 4.5 inch by 2.5 inch tourmaline rectangles. You're going to pair them just like shown here in the picture until you make 4 of these units as well. And now we have all the elements we can use to 9-patch together, so we're going to arrange all of our units just like this. The middle square is our 4.5 inch background square. And we're going to sew our rows together and then sew those columns together. And then we have our finished block. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me this month, and I will see you on June 28th for the June block.